Hi, my name is Ali Iqbal. In today's video, I will provide you intro of .NET. So let's start. What is .NET? .NET is an open source and unified development platform created by Microsoft for building many types of applications. .NET platform supports multiple programming languages and libraries to build web, mobile, desktop, IoT applications and more. .NET ecosystem. So the .NET project was introduced by Microsoft in 2002. .NET has always aimed to develop a platform that can be used to program in any language. Windows was obviously the primary .NET target in the initial phase. Microsoft did, however, submit the C# programming language and .NET runtime architecture requirements to ICMA for standardization. As a result, a few porting initiatives were started on platforms including Linux, embedded systems, mobile devices, browsers, and so on. There are various implementations of .NET which allows .NET Core to execute on different operating systems like Linux, macOS, Windows, iOS, Androids, and many others. Let's try to clarify the differences among common .NET implementations. The first .NET implementation was released back in 2002. It's called .NET Framework. It communicates with the underlying operating system and offers the developer a set of APIs for the majority of typical programming requirements. It only works with Windows and its lifetime is now coming to an end after the launch of .NET 5. Mono is a project that brings .NET to Linux computers. The most well-known porting project based on .NET standard specs is this one. Although it is mono intention for Linux programs created for the .NET framework to operate on Linux and vice versa, but compatibility is not always guaranteed. Several .NET framework capabilities are excessively dependent on the Windows operating system, and the Mono implementation frequently lags behind the most recent .NET framework enhancements. .NET Core. In order to provide a true cross-platform development framework, Microsoft started from scratch developing .NET Core in 2014. In 2016, the initial release was prepared with cross-platform support in mind. The new framework completely redesigned the .NET standards. In actuality, Windows, Linux, macOS all supported its runtime. The framework's modular architecture provides scaled-down copies of its essential components, enabling developers to obtain further components from the NuGet source. NuGet is a package manager for .NET applications. This restructuring made portability and deployment easier. .NET Standard. Even though .NET Core was a step towards cross-platform compatibility, it added yet another implementation to the .NET ecosystem, which was already complicated. To put it another way, a library developer may experience additional difficulties with the portability of their library. By developing the .NET standard, Microsoft made an effort to bring some order to this confusion. This is a formal definition of .NET APIs that various .NET platforms must follow, not just another framework implementation. Various .NET standard releases describe various .NET API sets. By doing this, a .NET implementation identifies the versions of .NET standard that it supports. That particular .NET standard version must be the objective for the library developer. For instance, regardless of the device type or the framework implementation, if a platform supports a particular .NET standard version, a library supporting that version will also function on that platform. .NET. The term .NET has been used to refer to the universal development platform since its inception. The .NET name created misunderstandings since other implementations have developed since then. Finally, .NET 5 was made available in November 2020. The goal of this updated framework is to eventually replace the existing .NET platform. There is no longer a need for several implementations such as .NET Framework, .NET Core, or even Mono. The set of APIs known as .NET 5 is the same for Windows, Linux, Mac, iOS, and Android. Your code will thus execute on any of those platforms if your project targets .NET 5. As a result, starting with .NET 5, only .NET will be used as a name and as a platform. .NET Architecture Components. .NET offers a modular and optimized architecture. .NET allows you to create a variety of application kinds ranging from command line to desktop applications, online to mobile apps, gaming to IoT applications. There are three major .NET components which includes .NET languages, application model frameworks, and the .NET Runtime. .NET languages. There are many supported languages in .NET, out of which three are the most common. C# is a modern object-oriented programming language that belongs to the C language family. Its syntax may look familiar to C, C++, Java, and JavaScript developers. F# is a functional-oriented programming language, member of the machine learning language family. It also supports the object-oriented programming paradigm. Visual Basic is an object-oriented programming language. It is a very old language and now only used in legacy applications. .NET Application Models. The application model framework are a group of tools and libraries for developers that facilitate quick and effective .NET project development. Different frameworks exist for different types of applications. ASP.NET is a free, cross-platform and open-source framework for building full-stack web apps with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and C#. You can also use ASP.NET to develop microservices and REST APIs for a range of clients including browsers and mobile devices. WPF or Windows Presentation Foundation is a user interface framework that creates desktop client applications. The WPF development platform supports a broad set of application development features including an application model resources, controls, graphics, layout, data binding, documents, and security. WPF uses the extensible application markup language called XAML to provide a declarative model for application programming. WPF applications are based on a vector graphics architecture. This enables application to look great on high DPI monitors as they can be infinitely scaled. Even though .NET is a cross-platform technology, WPF only runs on Windows. MAUI, which stands for Multi-Platform App UI, is a cross-platform framework for creating native mobile and desktop apps with C# and XAML. Using .NET MAUI, you can develop apps that can run on Android, iOS, macOS, and Windows from a single shared code base. .NET MAUI is open source and is the evolution of Xamarin Forms extended from mobile to desktop scenarios with UI controls rebuilt from the ground up for performance and extensibility. Blazor is a free and open source single-page application development framework that enables developers to create web apps using C# and HTML instead of JavaScript. It also allows you to generate client web apps in WebAssembly code. ML.NET gives you the ability to add machine learning to .NET applications in either online or offline scenarios. With this capability, you can make automatic predictions using the data available to your applications. Machine learning applications make use of patterns in the data to make predictions rather than needing to be explicitly programmed. Central to ML.NET is a machine learning model. The model specifies the steps needed to transform your input data into a prediction. With ML.NET, you can train a custom model by specifying an algorithm, or you can import pre-trained TensorFlow models. .NET Runtime. The CLR, which stands for Common Language Runtime, is the execution engine that handles running applications. It provides services like thread management, garbage collection, type safety, exception handling, and more. .NET supported programming languages like C#, F#, and Visual Basic Code is compiled into a language-agnostic CIL, which stands for Common Intermediate Language. Compiled code is stored in assembly files with a .dll or .exe file extension. When an app runs, the CLR takes the assembly and uses a just-in-time compiler JIT to turn it into machine code that can execute on the specific architecture of the computer it is running on. Why choose .NET? So .NET gives you a couple of advantages over other frameworks. Some of the most common advantages are ease of development. .NET is popular among developers because it contains several tools that make their jobs simpler. For instance, developers can interact effectively, write code more quickly, and test and modify their code quickly while utilizing the Visual Studio, which is a Microsoft IDE for building .NET applications. The cost of development is decreased by the ability to reuse code between implementations. High performance applications. Applications built with .NET respond more quickly and use less processing power. They offer strong built-in security protections and execute server-side operations such as database access rapidly. Community support. Because .NET is open source, which means anybody can access, use, read and edit it without restriction. The .NET software is updated and maintained by a vibrant community of programmers. An independent non-profit group called the .NET Foundation was created to help the .NET community. It offers .NET developers educational materials, open source .NET projects and a variety of events. Cloud computing support. .NET has first-class support for cloud computing. You can deploy your .NET applications to Azure, which is a Microsoft cloud computing platform, and also to third-party cloud providers like AWS Cloud, Google Cloud, and so on. All of the major cloud providers support .NET. Job market. There are a lot of jobs for .NET developers around the world due to its usage in enterprise-level development. Lot of big companies are using .NET in their technology stack, so the demand for .NET developers are increasing worldwide. So that's it from today's video. Thanks for watching. If you found it helpful, please subscribe my channel and share with others. Thank you.